The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified.
Good evening.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Welcome to another wonderful edition of The Otter's Den, cool and groovy things with your hosts, Keith and Joni.
What's up?
Hey, a whole lot, I tell you what. Hey, Michelle, Lois, Lisa, how you doing? Thank you for joining me tonight. Going to give a minute or two for some people to pop in here while I finish sharing and get my tabs organized, because I've got 19 browsers open and I can't figure out where the music's coming from.
Whoops.
Wait, it was coming from our show. That's where it's coming from.
Whoopsie. That's a whoopsie.
Yes, that is.
That's a whoops. So I started taking beet supplements, beef chew beet.
Okay.
Like beets.
Yeah,
like
I got you. The specific purpose?
I saw them at the store.
Oh.
They said they help your energy and your metabolism. And I thought any time it looked like candy. So I thought, well, it's a supplement, so it's not really candy.
Was it
but
like
it
a
tastes
gummy?
really good.
Hey, Howie Odell's in the house.
It
Founder
tastes
of
like
the
a
RNN
gummy.
Network. Tastes like a gummy?
Yeah, it's
Hey,
good.
Michelle. How you doing?
So we'll see how the beet supplements work if I get more energy.
Yeah, let me know. Mom used to always try to make me eat beets when I was a kid. Ain't
I
happening.
love beets.
I could
I know.
never. I don't know why, but I could never handle the flavor of them. I don't. Actually, it's kind of the flavor and the texture. I don't know.
Pickled beets.
Maybe I should try that again because I mean I didn't used to like carrots. I didn't used to like broccoli. Now I love carrots and I love broccoli. Who knows?
See?
Who knows?
Pickled beets are great on a salad,
Okay.
I guess.
I
I
can do
think
that.
it's an acquired taste, like sauerkraut.
That could, yeah.
Yeah.
That I could eat it if I have to when I was a kid, but I don't have to now, so I ain't gonna. They do have a pretty color, Lisa. You are right.
Yeah, they are
kind of
pretty.
red. I do
But
like
they
that color.
stain. I'll tell you what, though, they stain wherever they drop, like if
Oh,
you're
yeah,
on your
absolutely.
counter in your sink,
They-
it stains.
they make a
Lois
heck of
loves pickled beets too.
They'd make a heck of a food dye.
Yeah, they do. They
You know,
do.
for all these companies that need to replace their chemicals with natural food dyes.
Mhm.
There you go. Help the beet farmers.
Yeah, tie-dye a t-shirt.
Yes, absolutely. Before we get rolling here, there was a not so good development in a lot of people's lives over the weekend. Raymond Newsom from Newsom Paranormal, Raven Hollow Productions, and he was also a team member on the Spirit Mechanics. Suddenly passed away over the weekend from a heart failure. So if my voice sounds a little off and my vibration sounds a little bit off, that's one of the main reasons why. But I wanted to give a shout out to Raymond because he's hanging around and he's got some people he wants to mess with.
Taunt. He'll
yeah.
be taunting them.
He's been playing songs for people today, and
Has he?
Oh yeah, he was a good guy, loved by many. And I am going to
God love his heart.
take the executive decision of placing his GoFundMe.
Yeah, for sure.
Expenses in the comments. So if anybody could help or share, even just sharing is helping, that would be awesome and wonderful. And
Sure. You know, it's funny, even in my office at work with Scott, because I worked with Scott for 15 years. He was my boss. Every time I leave the office to this day, and I go out to lunch, and I never turn off my office light.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I walked back in today from lunch, and I had just gone up the street to get a soda. Walk back in, my light's off. Every single time. I'm like, I know, you know, and we just know when he's around. You can tell.
You can feel, you can hear. It's like you were talking about, you know, energetic vibration earlier. It's something we use on paranormal investigations. You know, our feels. It's a thing. We can walk into a room, the hair stands up on your arms. You are feeling energy. When I'm talking, a lot of times when this happens, I'll be sitting here looking up in the corner, you know, at nothing, talking with my hands. And all of a sudden, you know, whatever I said, the hair on my arm stands up. That's a verification from spirit.
Cold chills.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Greg and I had hoodies. I've got a hoodie actually somewhere, and it says "Got chills" on it. The hoodie says "Got chills."
Nice.
He's got one too.
Nice.
We both have them.
That is phenomenal.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, hon. I'm really
Me
sorry.
Me too.
'Cause I know you're close with them. They're like your team, your Kentucky team.
Yeah. Yeah. Cobra Paranormal is the Nebraska chapter of the Spirit Mechanics.
Yeah.
You know, I met Raymond. He was a good guy.
Yep. Well, they're always at the psychic fairs, like, you know, around in the area when, you know, all the vendors get to know one another.
Yeah.
And they've always got a booth. You
The
know?
mystical markets and whatnot. Absolutely. Scarefest. Absolutely.
So I'm sorry to hear that. Such a
He was,
young man.
Yeah, very, very talented individual. Awesome paranormal investigator. I got the privilege of investigating Bobby Mackey's with him and the rest of the mechanics, and that place it was amazing.
They're back down there now. They moved. They were out here for a while they were doing the remodeling. So now they're back down at Mackey. So I need to buzz down there.
They got the building up.
I need to get the scoop for you.
They got the building up already.
Apparently, because he's out of where he was at temporarily, but they were up. They were out here for about the whole year. It was about 8 months or so.
Yeah, I guess it has been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, and now they're back. Apparently, they're back down on the river. So know, I used to own. There was a bar next door to Bobby Mackey's where there's a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Light Cafe. I owned that bar.
Remember you telling me about that?
24. And that bar was called the Latin Quarter before Mackey's. Prior to that, it was called the Primrose.
Okay.
Well, Newport, Kentucky was one of the syndicate mob hangouts. So all the, like Buck Brady and all of the mobsters would hang out at Latin Quarter. That was the place to go. It was the beautiful place to go, the nightclub. All of the chauffeurs would come up to my bar and wait for their bosses to get done for the night. And then they'd drive down to just right down the street to the Latin Quarter.
Yeah.
Or Bobby Mackey's. But Bobby's place, because Bobby was my banker. Okay. So he owned the bar, but I made my payments to him. So what was funny is so many times we would be in there and the balls would fall down or the jukebox would play. But actually, my bar was a lot more haunted than his was.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I had a solid rock foundation in mind. And both of those bars had tunnels that led down to the Licking River. So I guess to make a quick escape.
That is amazing.
And Bobby's has a fake wall where the pool tables are. There's a fake wall that goes upstairs to the place.
Really?
Yeah, it's got a lot of, the wall pushes in. You push the wall in, and it's a fake wall, and you go up the stairs to the apartments. There's a lot of fake walls.
Okay. I remember that now because, we were able to go up to, we couldn't go in the apartment, but we were able to go up to it and talk through the door. I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
I mean, before the ghost became famous, everybody knew about the ghost down there.
Yeah.
What
when we were investigating that night, we had kind of an incredible experience upstairs in that apartment. Hang on, may I? All right. Reason I asked permission, because when they started tearing down that was up in the attic, needed a place to go. And you can come hang out in the attic. George has got the basement. Plank's got the first floor. Nas got the second floor. You can take the attic. So he came up. Call him Buffalo Man. Half man, half buffalo. And I'm not kidding. I'm not the only one that's seen it. We were actually playing cards and whatnot with the spirits. It was mechanics had video of it. I had video of it before I had the fire. It was an amazing, amazing night. Never forget that.
It's fun. It's a fun place.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do some homework and see how they rebuild it and if they put all the old nostalgia up on the walls.
I'll find out. I'll have to drive down there and find out. I'll get the scoop. Because they're gone. They left where they were temporarily at. So I'll find out.
I think I just got chills when I said about the old nostalgia going back up on the wall. So I bet they put something up because a lot of those pictures were of patrons that had passed and they still carried energy. It was amazing. But let's move on to the what the astrology that's going on right.
What? The WTF? I'm telling you.
I'm gonna drop it.
We
can
need
say that
we
word
need
before the
hoodies.
announcement. I need what?
We need hoodies that just say
What?
Lois and I were talking about it because Lois had that meme and she posted it on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
WTF. It was Alice in Wonderland and her book, and she's like, the title said, WTF are the planets doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, that should be a 2025 hoodie.
Yeah. Mercury is definitely in Gatorade right now.
Yeah.
Neptune,
Aries today.
Aries.
Yesterday.
And
Crazy.
I'm gonna put this disclaimer out. Because of the way I brought this, the astrology in. The planets are not doing things to us.
Right.
They are attempting to help us by bringing up things that we have buried that we don't want to see about ourselves. EI, our shadow. EI, the term shadow work. That is looking in the mirror at yourself, at the parts of yourself that you don't like, and figuring out why they are there and why you don't like them. Other people can mirror your shadow self back to you. And it's important to realize and understand it's not necessarily that person that you're angry at. You might actually be angry at what they are showing you because they exhibit a part of yourself that you don't like. That's not an easy thing to do.
Well, we had our eclipse. We made it through that.
Yes, we did.
Now, Neptune moving into Aries is gigantic. It's gigantic right now.
Water moving into fire, you get a little steam.
Fire. And Neptune has not been in there since 1861 in Aries.
The day after or before the Civil War started.
The exact day.
Disclaimer, with me stating that, with all the politics going on, we are not going to have a physical pew-pew civil war, okay? But in a way, we are kind of having a mental civil war because of all the changes that we are having to see and understand and accept. We can be at odds with other people because of their thinking. We can be at odds with ourselves because of the way we were brought up and brainwashed or taught to think. And now we are finding out that all that was a lie. I'll say in my opinion, but based on the facts that have been given to us, it's undeniable. There's undeniable proof out there.
It's just rolling out. You can't keep up with it. You literally cannot keep up with it.
The dossier files. I mean, they are giving us, at least attempting to give us information. NBC is sitting on a video that they purchased.
I saw. That
proves Lee Harvey Oswald was down by where Kennedy was, so he couldn't have been in there. But they are refusing to show it or give it to anybody. So they're starting to get some lawsuits up. Hopefully we'll be able to get that out and get the truth out.
Isn't that terrible? Isn't that who would do that?
It is. The 3-letter alphabet group that starts with the C.
It's all in the astrology of JFK's event chart of that day. It's all there. And I think the biggest takeaway from the 80,000 files that were dropped, and people are still going through them, is the fact that those 3-letter area agencies have only gotten bigger and badder since the 60s. And the things that are in those files that, unleashing a pathogen onto the Cuban people.
Yeah.
Hello. That was back in the 50s and 60s. Yeah. That was a plan.
They released, I think, was it St. Louis? They released off the top of skyscrapers in the ghettos and the slums. chemicals that they wanted to test for war.
Yeah.
Didn't tell anybody. Told them it was for like mosquitoes or something. I don't remember exactly what they said,
I mean,
but there's proof of it. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
right.
I mean, the list goes on. And like Howie just said, if you didn't catch Howie's show last night, the Orion
Yeah.
Effect on the RNN network, you should go watch that. He had a guest that was part of the MK Ultra project. I was amazed at that show and his guest and the information that he gave us. It blew my mind.
It's true.
It gave
You know,
truth to my
that MK Ultra stuff is very true. And I was on a case down in Kentucky. I was in a case in the mid 1980s, early 80s, with 2 FBI agents. We were traipsing through a field, and you know, there was an electric fence, and the farmer said, "No, the fence is off." Well, the one guy put his hand on the fence, and it shocked him.
Don't pee on them. Just saying.
Huh?
So don't pee on them.
No,
Just,
and I went, "Oh no!" And he's like, "Well, we have to be careful of who we tell we're with, because people like you need to lay low, because they will study you and they'll take you." And I'm not kidding. This 2 FBI agents.
I believe
locally.
it. I believe it.
So that was during all the MK Ultra stuff that was going on. So I was like, what are they talking about? I'm just down here to find a missing girl.
Right. Yeah. Howie, Montauk, the 40-inch dish that they bombarded the citizens with, signal that made people stop several nosebleeds, migraines, et cetera, in 88.
Yeah.
They have DEWs, direct energy weapons.
Sure they do.
I have seen videos of military testing of these sound producing weapons, and they put a person out in the field, they point the energy weapon at them, turn it on at low levels, and the person just cringes and gets the hell out of it. It's that goes right along with the show you're working on about vibration.
Yep.
Vibration can do damage. The Ark of the Covenant supposedly made blowing trumpets able to melt the walls of Jericho. There may be something to that.
There's a lot to what they have kept hidden, and there's a lot. They also, these same guys, okay, if you notice back up through the late 80s, the music industry changed too.
Oh yeah.
They changed the vibrational stuff and the beats and the sounds of music.
Yeah.
To get people, I mean, it sounds like a sci-fi movie, but it's true. It's crazy, but it's true.
It is. They changed the frequency of the music.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember. It's like what, 437? I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's a brain thing. But they changed it from what it used to be, you know, back in the 1800s, 1923, whatever. Might have been around 40s. They actually changed the frequency, the hertz level of the music, and it is a more detrimental vibration now.
Listen to old music.
And
don't listen to the new music.
If you pay attention, I've been trying to. Songs that come on the radio, songs you have on your playlist. Pay attention to how those songs make you feel.
That's right.
They can make you feel sad. They can make you feel angry. They can make you feel happy. So if you're doing shadow work and you want to get some grief out, listen to sad songs. If you want to get some anger out, listen to some angry metal. Some screaming death metal. If you want to feel happy, listen to happy songs. It affects your vibration.
You have to be careful. And when you go through these 80 volumes, these 80,000, you're not going to find a smoking gun.
No.
That wasn't the purpose of the release.
No.
The purpose of the release was to say, this is how they were acting and worked around the world.
Yes.
And it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And that is done.
That's
mind-boggling.
Just one of their operations. the three-letter group that starts with the C and ends with the A. They
Evil.
overthrew governments.
Evil.
They fund terrorists. I'll say in my opinion, but there's proof of it.
Well,
Hillary Clinton even admitted on video that we funded Al Qaeda. We started Al Qaeda to overthrow a government.
well, sure we did. We funded it. Well, guess what? Our paychecks funded it.
We're still funding terrorists at the amount of $40 million a week.
A week.
But that's
it's coming out, and you know, when with Neptune going into Aries, the last 13 years have been a funk, illusion, delusion, head up in the clouds, victim mentality. I want this, I want that, I deserve this. It's gone. As of today, it's gone. It's gone.
I had to get myself out of the victim mentality many times.
Yeah.
My divorces, the house fire.
Yep.
The universe did not do this to me.
Nope.
The universe helped me in the way this fire happened. Am I still suffering from it sometimes? Am I still having to work my ass off at times? Does it still get to me at times? Yes, but I've seen all the blessings that came from this fire, and I am thankful that it happened the way it did. I am.
This is the biggest shift we will see, I think, in our lifetime. Probably with Neptune, because it's at the zero, what we call a creator degree.
Yeah.
Zero creator degree of Aries is starting over. Okay?
A new 160-year cycle.
So, and what happens? People stand up on, what happens is with Aries is the warrior. People stand up in their own power with Aries. People will talk louder. You know, things move faster.
Yeah.
So
Look at time. It's already April. Well, tomorrow it's April. Yesterday it was the 1st.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's weird because the work week takes so long to get through, but then all of a sudden it's 3 months later.
But and we've got right on the heels of this, big boss karma, Daddy Saturn is coming right behind and hitting Aries too.
Yeah.
For 3 years. Then we're going to have Saturn and Neptune together. And where they're at, that we're in another, they haven't met for 500 years in this Aries 0 degree.
We're in uncharted territory right now.
We're in complete uncharted. And what happened? I knew this stuff was coming. I knew it was coming. I've looked at it. I've talked about it. But we had a class of solar return Saturday night. And after the class, we put up everybody's birthday chart, solar return chart, which is you do the chart at your birthday and it shows the year.
Yeah.
So the charts were 2025 to 2026 for everybody. As the year went on, you could see the outer planets and the patterns that they were starting to make. And as the year went on into like the August, September birthdays, starts to get very, very strong. And
yeah.
I
didn't see a picture, Howie, so I didn't know. I was like, what the hell? I'm sorry.
Crazy. So we've got Uranus, Pluto, and Saturn. No, my bad. Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune all harmonizing.
It's a good thing.
From now, it's happening now, but it doesn't get stronger until about September, all the way up to 2029.
Yay.
So, okay, those guys are harmonizing. Then in December, we've got another, it's called a magic triangle. Another magic triangle comes in with Jupiter and Uranus. Uranus is really taken over where Pluto destroyed everything. Now we got Uranus just kicking down the door. Saturn is coming in and saying, okay, we're going to do it this way. I want it planned out right.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus is just is going to be busting everything wide open.
He's farting on everything.
That's in July. He moves into Gemini in July. He's been asleep in Taurus for 8 years, just prodding along.
Yeah.
So now he's going to get kicked up and moving into Gemini. So we're going to see flying cars. We're going to see aliens. We're going to see space travel. We're going to see airplanes. We're going to see innovations that we've never seen before.
And I can't wait. I
know.
I can't wait. Maybe I can finally find out why I have this implant in my hand.
Yeah. I mean, Uranus, you know, and you go back and you look, okay, the last Saturn, okay, 36 years, Saturn and Neptune are conjunct, but every 500 years they go into a different sign. The last time they were together was in 1989 when the Berlin Wall fell.
No.
Okay.
And that was
what else happened in 1989? The Soviet Union dissolved and became Russia, a democracy.
And that was a good thing. Some
Beautiful
people may
thing.
not see it that way, but I feel it was a good thing.
Well, back then, you know, it was the USSR. Now it's Russia. Now it is considered more of a democracy.
Yeah.
The Berlin Wall fell. And so that was 1989. Very impactful historical things happen with the outer planets. But we only get like one or two at a time. Now we've got like 5 and 6 going on at once. And it's going to be like, what the hell is going on?
All of the slow-moving outer planets are shifting their signs this year.
Yep.
All of them.
Yep.
So we are going to be going through some very intense new energies that we are not used to. So we're going to have to give ourselves some time and patience and understanding. Practice the pause when you are talking to people so you don't rip their head off for them saying, I think I want a cheeseburger.
Dude, it's crazy.
Why do you want a cheeseburger? Well, because I want a cheeseburger.
It's, you know, like I was telling you with, I was listening to, I love Pam Gregory. She's a very spiritual astrologer. And she said, and it's so true. I'm going to screw up what she said, but basically she said, what you consume, what you take in becomes your reality.
Yes.
And I said, you know, that's so true. You know, and she said, I got rid of my television 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going on in the world, but some of those things just are not allowed in my consciousness right now. I'm not going to let it in. I don't, it's not where I am.
It's a thing. They say you are what you eat. There is
That's
truth
true.
to that. There is truth to that. Look at the chemicals in today's food. Our food is not food. They are working to make our food again. I appreciate that. I don't want to eat chemicals. I want to eat food. That's why I grow a garden every year. So I get non-GMO corn and non-GMO peas, and there's no pesticides or herbicides on them. I go out by hand and pick the worms off the cabbage and the broccoli. That takes a lot of time, but to me, it's worth it. And it's not just about what you consume through your mouth. It's also what you consume through these. That's why I mentioned the music earlier and the vibration. Song comes on the radio you don't like and you don't want to hear right now, change the station. It's very simple. Story comes on the news that you don't feel right about, shut it off. You can, if you want to learn about it, you can research it later when you're in the mood to, and in a different way, a different aspect. So just pay attention to the way you feel about things, and you can change your world. You really can. And it will also help to change your thought patterns and your speech patterns about and to yourself.
That's right.
If you keep telling yourself, I suck, I ain't worth anything, blah, 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 guess what? You will start believing that. But if you tell yourself, I deserve love, I deserve financial abundance, I deserve peace, you will change your life because you will find it. You will find it eventually.
It will.
Give it time, give it patience.
It's only going to keep getting, Rick Levin said, even though there's so much chaos and all like this anger, and I mean, I'm not angry, but you see people angry and they're destroying property and stuff. There's optimism on the horizon that people that are kind of aware of things feel. That's the outer planets at where we're headed. We just don't know it yet.
Right.
But that's their energy coming at us.
More people are waking up all the time.
Yeah.
And when these lower vibrational 3D people intermingle with the 4D and the 5D people, us, they don't like it. Well, some of them don't like it, but some of them are drawn to our energy, like a moth to a flame, like, moth to a light bulb. The heat from the light bulb will kill the moth. It doesn't understand why it has to keep flying around that light until it falls down on the floor. But it does. Just like these people don't understand why they're drawn to us when all we do is reverberate. Because you get two different vibrations hitting each other, that reverberates. Like when you walk up to a microphone and it goes, reverberation. When you're on the same wavelength with another person, you flow. You flow. You will feel the difference. And it is amazing when you get around people around your same vibration. It is amazing. I don't like the people anymore. I was telling you about this earlier, Joni. I decided to take myself out to eat because I can finally chew soft things now because of my implants. So
Yay!
I attempted to order some buffalo, butterfly, jumbo shrimp. And 20 minutes later, the waitress comes back and says, I'm sorry. I don't know why it took them so long to tell me this, but we're out of jumbo shrimp. Okay. No problem. Old me would have been pissed. But no problem. What else can I chew? Okay, well, let's do the hamburger steak. Sauteed mushrooms, nice soft. Okay.
Yeah.
40 minutes later, I get it. Old me would have ripped that waitress's ass. But I said, thank you. She apologized. No problem. But, man, can I please get a to-go box? Something came up. I got to go. Oh, yeah, sure. No problem. So she goes and gets me the to-go box. I put my food in it, and I hightailed it home because in that amount of time, 30 to 40 people walked in that bar. It's a bar and grill. And I didn't even have a beer or an iced tea. I just wanted food. And enough people with negative vibrations walked in that bar. The volume of them speaking over each other, I could not take it. I had to get them out of there. It was horrible.
It was a solar eclipse.
And that's the energy that used to be my life. We'd go down to the bar all the time, from 7 o'clock till close. That was my life back then. I don't know how I did it, except I do because I was down on their level.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Well, with all this Aries energy, if you notice, people are going to be driving faster, talking louder, moving faster. Everything is going to speed up. And April is going to go in twofold because I thought April was going to calm down for us before we got to May with Saturn moving, and April doesn't stop. Doesn't stop. So get ready. And you know who's in the limelight in April is Miss Venus. Yep.
Love and money. Love and money.
Venus.
I need me some loving money.
Venus, after she gets out of retrograde, and we've got a full moon in Libra, which is all about relationships in April. And Venus is out of retro. She's getting ready to go into Leo. And it's like, here I am. So April's good. The only thing that we got at the end of April is the Mars-Pluto opposition that we had in July around when Trump assassin hit, and other things hit around that opposition. I can't remember around that time. We got its third and last one coming in.
Yeah.
At the end of April. So we just got to be careful of surroundings at the end of April.
Watch yourself. Watch the people around you. Drive defensively. Hugely. Drive defensively.
Oh,
the traffic has been absurd around.
April 27th.
Yeah.
But other than that, April is slamming. It's fast.
Yeah,
it's
rest is
picking up. It's everybody's coming out of retrograde. Everybody's going forward, and we're in Aries season, so it's coming. It's here.
It's getting warmer. The fire pit is still there. Just saying. But I have come a long way, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that about me. I can no longer be around the people I used to, mainly because I see the things that they do to themselves and to others. And back in those days, I was the same way. I cheated. I lied. I was not a good person. And so I fit in with that group. I don't do those things anymore. I see what they do, and I don't like it. It's not who I am anymore, and that's not who I want to be around. Right. I want to be around positive people who vibrate.
That's a good thing. You know what I mean? You'll have to watch the show Wednesday with the little chart. I have to email you one of these little charts.
Cool.
Get out the pendulum.
Yeah, I've got one I've never even programmed yet. I can use that.
I got one. It's all knotted up, like everything in my life. It's knots. That's why I never want a Tesla, because I don't need a cord. Knot up. No more cords.
Plug it in.
No, see, it's got knots all through it. So but it works.
Hey, if it works, it works.
I did it. I was practicing for the show, because Cindy had talked about at class that she's an energy expert, and she was talking about a Russian guy that has a thing that you hook up to your fingers that it tells you what you're vibrating at. And I found the name of the guy, and I found out who he is. I just need to look him up, and I'll see if he's got any of those machines.
I'm not even going to giggle at that. I'm not even going to Scorpio giggle at that.
What's so funny about it?
But I totally understand what you're saying, because I went to a metaphysical fair.
Right.
And they had a machine that you could sit down and it would take a picture of your aura.
Right.
And so I sat down in there, and she's doing the video and taking the picture, because you got a video and a picture. And I'm like, okay, let's play. So I'd raise my vibration up, my color would change, the aura would grow. Yeah. I'd lower my vibration, the color would change. It would come back in. She's like, how in the are you doing that?
Yeah.
Energy flow. She's like, do it again. Okay. So I did it again. Make it purple. Okay. I made it purple.
Isn't that fun?
She looked at me and said, show off. I'm like,
that's fun. And,
and to me, that was proof to me that I actually could do that.
Sure you can.
I actually did it, and I had video proof of it, and that made me feel good.
But, I think it's important that people, because when we have a lot of shifts with the planets, I wanted to see
energy line.
There's Miss Cindy. She's so good with that. Cindy will be here Wednesday, I hope, so she can get and jump into the show Wednesday night with me, because it's interesting. Awesome. I'm doing a lot of it, with the Schumann. The Schumann is all science, so scientists do not believe what spiritualists say. The The only real person that I can find that was like a little bit over to the spiritual side was Tesla.
Right.
A little. Tesla was not big into spiritual energy, but he still acknowledged that it might be. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And
But Einstein was like, no, if it's not scientific, a scientist is not going to go along with it. So people with Schumann people are going to say, no, it's lightning. That's it. The people of Earth cannot affect the Schumann cycle.
Absolutely.
I disagree with it.
The normal Schumann resonance, which is the actual vibration of the Earth, the average is 7.83 hertz.
Right.
711. You can't make that up. What have I been seeing for years? 711.
Yeah, 7.83 hertz.
However, the Schumann charts, they skyrocket. It gets up over 100, 120.
Well, the scientists say that it's lightning. That's lightning doing it.
It's not lightning. It is the human collective using vibration as well as other factors. It's the planets. It's a lot.
No, a scientist would say, no, prove it to me.
Hey, scientists, prove it's not.
Well, that science is just debatable. It's pretty cool, but it's neat to see where it came from, what it's about, and what the spiritualist people that set, the vibrational studies that did like 100 is 100 is, fear, 200 is courage. How did that guy do that? Well, he did it with the machines that, like what Cindy was talking about. And so it's interesting. I'm going to do that Wednesday because people are asking me what is going on. They're like, what are the planets doing? It's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm like, well, we got about 4 or 5 years of it to just kick back and just enjoy it because I don't know what to say anymore.
Keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times and enjoy as much as you can.
Buckle up,
Buttercup.
Buckle up, because I think it as we turn the corner and get all of these outers where they're supposed to be, it'll calm down.
It should calm down a little bit.
It should.
We should be in a better place.
Look at the freaking weather.
Yeah, that's Neptune.
It's crazy.
That's some of that's Neptune.
Yep.
I'm from Nebraska. I'm no stranger to storms, tornadoes, floods, what have you. But the storms that we're seeing last year, this year are so crazy. Intense. Now, is that due to weather manipulation through HAARP? I have a feeling some of it might be. But that type of thing should be on the downslide now that we have a different administration.
Yes.
So,
and
things are still rough out there.
Uranus is the one that in July, which is the one that we're going to have to watch because that's earthquakes and volcanoes. And right when that magic triangle started to go into place, Uranus was up at I think Uranus was at that apex. We had that big earthquake in Thailand, or was it Taiwan? Thailand.
8.0, I think.
Oh, it's horrific.
I know the one that was in the ocean was 8.0. I don't know what Thailand's was.
Oh, they had buildings fall.
Yeah.
Like thousands of people.
And a lot of the religious buildings.
Oh, that's awful. I hate that. But we'll have to watch that in July with volcanoes and stuff.
Yeah. We've got fault lines. They're small, but we've got fault lines in Nebraska. We've had earthquakes here. It was so small that you couldn't feel it, but Wymore had an earthquake here a while back. So if you're in an earthquake zone, if you're in Tornado Alley,
I am.
If you're in hurricane land, be prepared.
Yeah.
You know, Florida, they've pretty much got it nailed down. They know what they need to do. They board up their windows. They
Yeah.
hunker down. They got their food. They got their water. They wade their way through it.
I had my
And
bag packed last night. My bag is packed for the
have a
spring.
throw bag if you need it.
My
have
bag
extra
is packed.
supplies in your basement. If you don't have a basement, if you got a yard, dig a root cellar. That's what they used to do. They'd go out into the root cellar, shut the door, lock it from the inside.
We went in the bathroom.
Yeah.
The cat and I went in the bathroom last night. We had a tornado warning.
Smallest room on the interior of your home.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't
We
have
were
a
in the
basement.
bathroom. I'm like, wait, it's too early for tornado season. I don't want to hear these sirens going off. And those phone sirens go off. They'll jump you out of your chair. They scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, you're
They're
not wrong
awful.
there. You're not wrong there.
But it's just April. I thought we would get a little bit of a rest, but I think it's an exciting time to be alive. It is just
It is. And that
It's
is the perfect
crazy.
that's the perfect outlet to bring in the next subject. Look at everything that we are seeing come to light right now.
Yep.
The pyramids.
Yep.
They found a way to use a satellite-based radar system. It's called SAR.
Here it is.
And how this works, that's it right there. How this works is
There it is.
everything solid, as we said before, this plays right into our conversation tonight, has a vibration. Your
See?
desk is vibrating at a specific level. This, if I can get it out of here. Whoop, hang on.
That's what the pyramid.
This stone is vibrating at a specific frequency. Quartz vibrates. Granite has a lot of quartz in it. And if you compress quartz, you get what's called piezoelectric electricity. When you go out to your barbecue grill and you push that button and it sparks, there's a crystal in there and it's compressing it and that makes a spark. That's what's lighting your barbecue grill.
Ugh.
So look at all of the granite and limestone and everything in the pyramid. And then they use this radar and it's actually reading the vibration from the earth, because the earth vibrates, of all of the solid parts of that pyramid and everything under it.
It's so cool.
What doesn't show up are the voids where there is nothing, a room.
See,
It
That's
shows
cool.
different colors for different things. Solids are usually brighter colors. Voids are usually darker, blues, what have you. They discovered so many more chambers. One of them you could probably fit 800 people in,
look at
and
that.
tunnels. And there are 8 huge shafts going down under the pyramid into like 2,000 meters down. That's a long ways.
Long.
And they go into 2 boxes, square boxes, perfect, like 80 meter by 80 meter square boxes. And then there's another level in between that and the pyramid where there are 5 more chambers underground that they did not know about. And around those shafts is like a spiral staircase looking thing. Now, people have said they thought that the pyramids were energy generators. This leads to that fact because there were aquifers that flowed under the pyramids. Water flowed.
Yes, it did.
You hit that granite with water, it causes vibration that comes up. And it said that they've found weak sulfuric acid and traces of hydrogen and whatnot. They think it was like an energy generator, a huge energy generator. And the outside of it used to be coated with polished, mirror polished white limestone with the gold top. The gold is the perfect conductor to spread that energy out to the obelisks that have been found all around the world. It was like Tesla. This is what he based his work on. It's the same thing. Wireless energy transfer. Guess what we have today? Wireless energy transfer. I can call Joni right now with no wires, and she will hear my voice. I
Right.
can take this in, lay it on my alarm clock, and it will charge without a cord. It's amazing.
Well, we're gonna wait till July. It's just gonna continue. It's just gonna
Yeah.
be so cool, and I think it's gonna be one right after the next. But
What's
we just gotta stay grounded, stay within your peace,
yes,
and just don't let the chaos and the noise get to you.
right. What's even more interesting is 4,000 feet below the pyramid, they found a city. They think they found a city using this radar system. And it's
It
also
wouldn't
been
surprise
reported
me.
that each of the other two pyramids
Yeah,
have this below them as well. Now, I wonder, the pyramids in Thailand, the pyramids in China, do they have this below them?
in Mexico.
Mexico, yes.
Mhm.
My mind has been blown in the most wondrous way. I
It's
cannot
neat.
wait to see more proof.
It's
I
coming.
I need
You
to.
know, a lot of the Egyptologists are saying, no, no, that's not right. That doesn't prove anything. But
Well, the one,
you know,
can't remember his name, Howie's or whatever. He was the
he's the big famous guy.
right. But everybody wanted to go into that hole under the paw of the phoenix. They wouldn't let anybody. Well, then all of a sudden, he gets a $10 million grant to go down in there. He goes down
You-
in there.
Was it
And
USAID?
he said, good one. He said, yes, we found something down there. We're not saying what it is yet, but we found something down there. And then all of a sudden they come back out real quick, close something up, and nobody is allowed back in there. And they said, nothing's there. Nothing's there.
Probably USAID.
A lot of people thought it was a hall of records down there. No, it is a tunnel that goes over to the tunnels, that the new tunnels that they found under and in the pyramid.
Yep.
They think that one of the real big one that they found might be what they call the Hall of Amente.
Cool.
And what that is a hall of life and death. And there are stories from tablets that say the old leaders that ruled for thousands of years, every 100 years, they would lay down in this sarcophagi, which got energy from the pyramid, and they would transfer their consciousness to a new body while that one healed. And then the next 100 years, they would come back and switch again. That's how they ruled for so long. That's a very interesting concept because the sarcophagi in there are huge, and they have never found a
Yeah,
body
they are.
in the pyramids.
They are.
Absolutely.
And they're all made of limestone
Granite,
and granite.
rose granite.
And they're huge. You can't, until you would see them yourself, you can't imagine how gigantic the pyramids actually are. You can't describe it.
How perfect the measurements
You cannot
line up
describe it.
with the circumference of the equator and the distance to the moon and the distance to the sun.
can't.
You can't make it up.
And only I could stand up in them. Like people that I'm 5'2", I could stand up and go all the way to the bottom. But people that were taller than 5'2" had to crouch.
Yeah.
I could stand up at regular height and not hit my head, but people were hitting their heads because and milk doesn't sour in the pyramids. It does not sour. And the air, you would think that the air, there's no windows. You know what I mean? You would think the air would be musty and stuffy. No, it's perfectly clear.
There's also a theory about geothermal. That can regulate the temperature of the inside of the pyramid.
It is regulated because milk doesn't
Right,
sour. They're beautiful.
It's the energy.
It is. It's mind-boggling.
I bet if you took a petri dish full of bacteria put it in the middle of the pyramid, I bet the bacteria would die.
I bet it would. The whole energy there, you can't. It's different. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's different. It's third world too, but it's different.
Yep. Yeah, I like Cindy's comment here. In the 70s and 80s, a TV channel changer used to be ultrasonic. She could hear it when you change the channel or volume.
That's right.
Remember that. Then they designed infrared. Right. I'm going to show my age. When I was a kid, Grandma and Grandpa had a big aerial antenna on top of their house, and they had a little box over by the TV. And if you wanted to change the channel, you went over and at north, south, east, and west, and you turned it, and it would go click, 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 click.
We didn't have remotes.
I was the remote.
We were the kids were the remotes. Get up and change the channel.
Yes.
But hang in there through April. It's a beautiful April. Great transits. Busy, fiery. All Aries coming in. And except, at the end of the month, we just got to watch that Mars-Pluto opposition. That's it. I mean, and then we go into May and Papa Karma comes in. Oh, that's going to be a big, huge transit. Because Saturn has been a little calm in Pisces. Now, what's going to happen when Saturn gets into Aries? The karma train's coming.
Choo choo, mother. And Ozzy's going to be driving that son of a bitch. Now, this could be a good thing, or it could be a not so good thing. It depends on the work you've done for yourself and for others. So if you want to get a jump start on this, start changing your ways.
It's a little late.
Do little things. Even little things will help. Picking up a gum wrapper by a trash can and putting it in the trash can. Little things like that. I walk in the bathroom at work every morning, and not every morning, but most of them. And there's paper towels on the floor from right next to the trash can over to the door, behind the door, because people open the door with them and then just throw them down. I pick them up. I grab a paper towel, I pick them all up, and put them in the trash can.
I think Daddy Saturn's going to be looking for some evil people.
What I do is sometimes I go out to the lake with trash bags, and I've actually organized, river cleanups and stuff like that, and pick up all the trash. And this year, people busted a bunch of picnic tables again. I'm going to get some carriage bolts and nuts, and I'm going to, I got some boards in the garage. I'm going to try and fix the picnic tables. It's crazy what people do, but we can make up for it, and we can help ourselves in the process.
When we look at the USA chart, Neptune and Saturn are moving into the 5th house into the United States chart. And that's an odd house. I mean, it's my favorite house, but it's odd. And it's children. It's the mood of the country. It's what we enjoy. It's hobbies. It's creativity. It's the pulse of the country. It's the happiest house in the zodiac. But it's the children. And that's Saturn and Neptune coming in. So don't be surprised. If something with children comes up in this theme, moving in from March, April, and May, something about children.
Like a lot of them being found?
I've watched that now because that's what I do, with the missing. And I worry about that. So I don't know. So yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
No, don't. Yeah, it is. It is.
It can be fun and satisfying, but when I do it, I usually try to, I don't say pray for them, but I wish them a better future. I wish them learning, knowledge, and growth so that they can change their karma into a good thing instead of what's nailing their ass to the wall. Does that make sense?
Saturn in Aries is balls to the wall. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's not messing around. And
No.
Neptune isn't playing either.
With-
Aries doesn't play.
No. And I'm
No.
going to say with the kids, whether it's your kids, your grandchildren, teach them. Teach them manners.
Yep.
Teach them the real history of our country. Teach them
We
what's
don't know
going
it.
on in a positive way. Why is everything changing? Why are
We
these
don't know
people so
it.
mad? Explain it to them on their level. Teach them. Teach them to pick up the dirty plate from under their bed with the mold growing on it and take it to the kitchen and clean it, wash it. And then teach them to pick it up after they're done eating and take it in to do that so that they don't get bugs in their room. I mean, the things I have seen on paranormal investigations would curl your hair.
Ooh, I'd leave. I'd leave. No wonder devils go there.
Teach your children to be responsible adults and to be responsible for themselves, to help others when they can, if they can. The world will be a hell of a lot better place.
This generation coming up, the younger ones, are really high vibers. It's a good generation. The
Thank you.
ones that are like 10 and 11 and 15, 16, it's a good, because see, the outer planets move, so we have generational habits with different generations. Gen Z, what was Saturn in at that time? Gen X, what was, so you've got we see generational things.
Gen X.
So this is a good group coming up behind us, that little ones.
Yeah. Maybe we can raise another Gen X group. Who knows?
Well, you know, that's the Saturn and Capricorn group. So Saturn and Capricorn, hard workers. Look at it.
Yeah.
This is a good time right now. Stay optimistic. The chaos. I think we're seeing everything that Pluto was doing behind the scenes the whole time in Capricorn.
Yeah, it's all coming
During
out
the
now.
Pluto return.
Yeah, it's all
We're
coming
seeing
out.
the whole. It's gone.
Yeah. What was Pluto involved when the Civil War started?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Okay. But that was a huge sign of change.
Look.
You know, the Civil War, they were fighting not only to abolish slavery, but also about taxes, funding, states' rights, etc. There's a lot more involved than what just the books tell you.
I know it was not really about slavery.
That was a positive thing that came about. But
that was not the sole. That was
Right.
not the purpose of the Civil War.
Right. And I'm just going to say almost every, I'll say nationality, color, what have you, have been slaves. Not only Africans, not only, the Irish, the Chinese, Native American. I mean, it just needs to stop. Period. It's still going on today. The human trafficking, the sex trafficking, that needs to stop. And people are making attempts to do that right now, to stop it. And I applaud that.
Well, it stopped in one area of the world and came here.
And there are individuals here trying to make it stop here.
Was Pluto in, let's ask, during the Civil War, and then I'll get off here. What planet was Pluto in during this? I love AI.
I haven't played with it much yet.
Oh. Well, Pluto wasn't discovered then. Well, what? Okay.
Okay. What the hell?
What? Pluto wasn't discovered then. During the Civil War, Pluto was orbiting the sun. It was a...
Pluto was discovered February 18th of 1930.
Right, but Civil War was 1861.
Right. So who knows what Pluto was doing then?
Okay. I'll say, what sign was Pluto in
You almost have to do a chart.
1861? I'll have to look on the ephemeris. I can look it up. I'd have to actually look it up via paper.
You don't have to. It's just a curiosity.
I'm curious too. Taurus. It was in Taurus.
Okay. Opposite Scorpio.
So that was about money.
Well, and
Taurus is money.
That fits. And that's what we're going through right now.
Taurus is an earth sign associated with material concerns. Okay, so it entered Taurus in 1853, remained there until 1884. It was long.
Wow.
But most of 1861, it was firmly in Taurus.
Okay.
So Taurus would be, it would have been money. Money is Taurus.
Makes sense. That makes
See, and that's
sense.
why you have to look at all the other planets that were surrounding Neptune and Aries. Pluto was in Taurus. What were they doing?
Right.
Were they squaring maybe? We don't know. You know, I'd have to pull up the chart, but
yeah, you got to look at how they interact with each other.
Right. You can't just say, well, Neptune was in Aries during the Civil War, so we're going to have a civil war. No.
Right.
You got to see what was going on, the whole picture.
Yeah, and that's just like everybody complains and complains and complains when Mercury goes into retrograde. It's not just Mercury. It's Pluto, it's all the other planets and how they are interacting with. Now, Mercury does have a habit of digging up deep things that you need to look at about yourself, saying, hey, let's work on this. And then if you don't, Pluto does have a habit of picking you up and face planting you in a way that you have to look at things.
Yeah. Pluto's not nice.
No,
the thing is,
done.
Every retrograde is the same because look at the cycle. It appears to be going backward in the sky, but it's really not. But it's going over the degree that it just went over. Okay, did you fix that? What did you do? And then it goes back over that and says, okay, let's take a look at it.
Do we need to do more work?
Did you fix it? If you didn't fix it, here comes Saturn, and Saturn is going to say, okay, it's karmic. We're going to repeat it and repeat it until you get it right.
Yeah, I'm done repeating.
Yeah, I'm tired of lessons.
We're at the end of the 25,920 year cycle, and I don't really think I want to reincarnate again. I'm going home.
We're at the cycle. That's it. We're in the age of Aquarius.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Look, people argue it, but we're at the creator degree. Neptune is at the midpoint of, I mean, there's so much calculation with the astrology that if somebody says we're not in the age of Aquarius right now, yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Jesus
was in Pisces.
Yeah. You know, and you can break it down. 25,920 year cycle. Something of the equinoxes. Anyway, each sign is in here for so many, a few thousand years, 2,000, something like that. There's 12 signs. That equals 25,920 years. And that coincides with a lot of extinction level events. The Younger Dryas was 11,200 years ago, I think. It was a half cycle. And if you look at the extinction level events, it is at intervals of that. Solar flashes, meteors, earthquakes. The Younger Dryas was, they believe, both volcanic and a huge meteoroid or two hitting the earth, which caused the volcanic, and it produced so much heat that the ice caps melted almost immediately in timeline, and it just flooded the earth. Every religion has a flood myth. It's because the earth flooded because of these things.
Yeah.
If you look at the legends, it matches up with astrology and history.
It all matches.
It will blow your fucking mind.
It all matches. The astrology is so accurate. It's frightening.
Yeah. And Greg Braden, I saw one of his shows on Gaia. He actually made an event calculator. He took all of the big nasty events that happened. He made a computer program, fed them in, and it could calculate when the next one would hit. And it worked.
That's neat.
It worked.
That's neat. Well, it's why they used astrology for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, it's not just made up.
George
These
Washington.
are brilliant ancients,
Yes. I hope Mr. T has an astrologer, and if he doesn't, Joni, you need to do that. You need to call the White House and say, "Hey, I can do this for you."
His company is Jupiter Inc.
Okay, he's got an
What's that tell
astrologer.
you?
He's got an
He's got an
astrologer.
astrologer. The LLC is Jupiter. Jupiter is abundance and blessings. Now, only an astrologer would tell somebody to name their LLC Jupiter.
Jupiter. I like that.
I mean, every person of power has an astrologer. You can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Hitler had 3 of them. He had one of them murdered. He had a couple of them murdered.
You can't make it up.
No, it's documented, well documented. He had them. Hitler had the astrologers. Ben Franklin was an astrologer. Thomas Jefferson was an astrologer.
Yes, they were.
They were.
You tell people that and people won't believe you, but they
Franklin has recorded it. He recorded it.
Yeah.
He talks about the eclipses.
Yes.
Yeah. He picked the time for this country to be born.
And that's another thing about eclipses and you were talking about karma and eclipses can bring on sudden changes.
Yes.
Might be a not so good change at the time, but it might lead you to a better place.
Yes.
Work. Or all of a sudden, you've been looking for a job and here's a job. Or you've been looking for, a new relationship. You walk into the grocery store, bump into somebody's cart. Hey, you don't know. That's right. So just whatever happens, in the back of your mind, keep telling you, okay, this has happened. It's a not so good thing, but it may lead to something better if I do the work. You get fired. What do you got to do? You got to go out, be down doors to find a new job. If you just sit there and draw unemployment, you're not going to find your abundance. You're not going to find the better job that you've been wanting and asking the universe for. You got to do the work.
You have to do all the work.
Yes.
All of it. So, well, I'm going to get off here, Hunt, because I got to get ready for Wednesday. So,
yep. I got some things I got to get done tonight too. So
have a great 2 weeks.
You too.
And I'll see you Wednesday. See you. Right, thanks, everybody. Have a good 2 weeks. Enjoy April because it's going to be fun.
Let's make it fun.
Oh, it's gonna be wild. I can't wait. I'm excited. Bye.
Right. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed what we had to talk about tonight. Thank you, Cindy. It's appreciated. So y'all go enjoy your evening. Have fun. Find something fun to do tonight. Just entertain yourself in a good way. That'd be a good thing to do on this Monday evening. So on that note, please go like the Rift Nation Network on Facebook. Please go like the Otter's Den on Facebook and also both of them on YouTube. Please click like, subscribe. That way you get notified when we come on. It would be greatly appreciated. And we will see you in at least 2 weeks, if not sooner. Have a good one. Thank you.